like you. A month ago, my free time was spent in a cycle. As soon as I came home from work, I would check my Snapchat messages, my iMessages, then Instagram, then TikTok, then rinse and repeat until it's time to go to sleep. And then one day I kind of realized something. I had somehow become kind of boring. I found that I spent so much time consuming media, but I'm not creating anything anymore. I thought back to how creative I was when I was younger. I've always loved writing my own music, dancing, acting, filming, and expressing myself through movement. But now, instead of doing any of those things that I used to enjoy, I find that I'm mostly just on my phone, even though it doesn't actually make me happy. See, there's this chemical that's released in your brain when you scroll on TikTok or Instagram, and it's called dopamine. It's the chemical of anticipation that is released when you're expecting a reward. Dopamine isn't inherently a bad thing, but like most things, it really comes down to moderation. Social media and TikTok provide so much dopamine that your brain downregulates the dopamine receptors so that the dopamine is received to a smaller scale. So the same amount of dopamine is not received as intensely. So now activities that produce a lower amount of dopamine in a time frame, such as reading, the dopamine isn't received to the same extent as it used to be. To combat this dopamine downregulation and to go back to my core creative self, I've decided to commit to 30 days in dopamine detox. I'm going to share my journey and my results and provide some valuable tips that you can apply if you also want to complete a dopamine detox. Here are the parameters. I said no to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, and online shopping. I still allowed myself to film and edit videos, to watch movies when I'm out with others, and to use my phone to talk and communicate with the people I care about. Basically, I'm restricting myself from consuming media, but I'm not restricting myself from creating media. My criteria for success in this experiment is the impact on sleep, focus, mental clarity, laziness, and whether or not I still reach for my phone. And so we begin. Week 1. The first step that I took was to write down everything that was holding me back, recognizing the cause and triggers. I really recommend this step because 10% of these triggers are external, so like getting a message from your boss saying check your emails, whereas 90% are internal. For example, your main triggers could be loneliness, awkwardness, stress. Often we go to our phone to distract ourselves from these feelings. One trigger for me was stressing over FOMO. I was scared to kind of miss out on TikTok sent to me and not really understand my friends' jokes. To solve this, I asked everyone I'm really close with to not send me TikToks for the month so that I wouldn't feel like I'm missing out. Then I made a list of all the things that really motivated me to undertake this process. One of the main reasons for me was some of the things I really love, like reading and journaling, had become really tricky to me because it releases dopamine so slowly, and I'm just so bound to that fast acting dopamine sources. I know that once I get into a book or into a journaling session, I'll absolutely love it, but it's really hard to take that step when you've got your phone really tempting you to go and click everything. And I didn't want to stay trapped in that way forever. I was also inspired by Hendrix's video where he shows his brain activity before and after dopamine detoxing. He has a scan of his brain before and after, and it's an incredible difference in brain activity. Also, I think I would like to start treating my time more as a commodity rather than just trying to pass time with social media. Like, it's kind of crazy how we try to just pass the time and make it go quicker through social media. Considering how short we have on Earth, why would we not want to feel every second in its fullest capacity? Another reason I'm cutting out social media is because of the social comparison theory. It says that we assess ourselves and our own worth based on how we view the success of people around us, whether we perceive ourselves as faring better or worse. So when you see everybody's curated life on Instagram, it really skews your perspective because you're comparing the good, the bad, and the ugly of your life against their highlight reel. In this first week, I just kept on reaching to my phone automatically. It was very tempting to just go straight onto TikTok, but Instead, I decided that if I had my phone in my hand, I'd have to record myself to hold myself accountable about how I'm dopamine detoxing. So that's a tool that I think is really helpful when you're starting a new habit. On to week 2. So I started this week with a little bit of research into the 4 chemicals that relate most to happiness. We have dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. We've already talked about dopamine. Serotonin is about appreciating. It's the mood stabilizer that's released in things like sun exposure, meditation, mindfulness. Oxytocin is from loving, hugging, socializing, and helping others. Endorphins is the natural painkiller from things like exercising and laughter. I think that my brain probably produces a bunch of dopamine because of all that TikToking. Also, I think it releases lots of oxytocin because of all the people I love in my life. But I don't think my life particularly supports the release of endorphins and serotonin. So at this stage of my dopamine detox, it kind of changed a bit to become not just about dopamine detoxing, but also balancing the others too, by bringing up my serotonin and endorphin levels. I think this is definitely an area I would love to do more research in. With all this time off TikTok, I think I've definitely been more creative. For example, I started this YouTube channel, got really into editing, and also did lots of writing. In this week, I started working my first full-time job. So I was very, very grateful that I'd been dopamine detoxing because I felt my focus was more than usual. At week 3, I realized something that was really important for my dopamine detox. I realized I'd been watching TikTok because it means I'm doing something, because otherwise I'd just be doing nothing. Doing nothing makes me feel guilty for being unproductive. Lots of this really comes down to hustle culture and how we're fed this narrative that rest is for the weak and we've always got to be working hard to be successful. So even though TikTok isn't productive, I was using it because it's more productive in my head than doing nothing. Even if it was like right down there in terms of productivity, it's still a little bit higher in my head. So TikTok gave me this illusion of productivity. This really made me realize that I need to learn more how to truly enjoy rest and not feel guilty about it. In this week, I also attended a party with a couple people that I knew in high school. Back then, I thought that I wasn't really invited to these parties or to hang out with these like conventionally popular people because somehow I wasn't good enough. But over the years, I've crafted a life that I'm very proud of, yet still nobody really seemed to notice me. It was actually really comforting because all those times when I thought I wasn't included because I wasn't good enough, it actually wasn't a reflection on my worth at all. It just made me realize that I always was enough. It made me realize that I used to post on Instagram in my late teens because I felt that I wasn't good enough when I was younger, and I wanted to prove that I am good enough now because my confidence and lots of things in my life had improved, and I wanted people to have that as their idea of me instead of who I was when I was a bit younger and shyer. It also really made me reconsider why I had social media in the first place. By week 4, I definitely noticed lots of improvement in my focus. Another thing that I found really interesting is that since I knew that I wasn't going to post anything that month, every photo I took was just really genuine. It was never about looking good, it was just about capturing a really beautiful moment. It felt really good because there wasn't the same pressure to create Instagrammable photos. And now it's over. 30 days of a dopamine detox. I found that my focus and concentration increased a lot. I was able to get back into lots of these slow releasing dopamine sources like reading that I've kind of found a bit challenging. I personally didn't really notice an impact on my sleep. I felt more motivated to get up and do housework, but honestly that boost went away as the month progressed, so it possibly could just be placebo. I still always reach down for my phone, but then when I have it in my hand, it's a lot easier to put it down. Overall, the big takeaway was that this really helped improve my focus and also learn more about myself and my brain. Let me know in the comments if you've dopamine detoxed and how you found the journey.